Did you know there's a hidden story buried right underneath your house? A story that can literally decide its future? Well, today, we're digging in and figuring out why the year your home was built might just be the most important thing you need to know about its safety. Okay, let's just start with this. This is the kind of picture from a surveyor's report that no homeowner ever wants to see. I mean, just look at it. That jagged crack climbing up the wall. It's a classic warning sign. And yeah, it's deeply worrying. So what's really going on here? What does a crack like that actually mean? Is it just a cosmetic thing you can patch up and forget about? Or is it a symptom of a much, much deeper problem? That's the mystery we're going to solve. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to learn how to read those telltale cracks. Then, we'll get a proper diagnosis and figure out what subsidence actually is. We'll take a little trip back in time to look at how foundations have changed over the years. And then, this is the big one, we'll look at the post-1976 shift. And finally, we'll give you a kind of health check for your own home. All right, first things first, let's put on our detective hats. Because those cracks, they're our first and most important clues that something isn't right. So you've got a couple of different types here. On the left, that's an aggressive lightning bolt crack splitting the bricks outside. Nasty stuff. On the right, it's a little sneakier, just a thin line creeping down an inside corner. But don't be fooled. Both of these are basically screaming that the very ground your house is sitting on is moving. Okay, so if the cracks are the symptoms, what's the actual condition? The diagnosis, more often than not, is one pretty scary word: subsidence. So what does that actually mean? Well, it's pretty simple. It's not the house itself just sinking, it's the actual ground underneath it that's giving way. When that happens, the foundations lose all their support, and the whole building can start to bend and crack. And what causes this chaos? Well, the number one villain is often clay soil. It swells up with water, and then when it gets dry, it shrinks dramatically and cracks. But it's not the only culprit. You could have huge, thirsty trees right next to the house, their roots just sucking all the moisture from the soil. Leaky drains can slowly wash the earth away. And sometimes it's even due to old mining activity in the area.
Now, to really get a handle on this, we have to look to the past, because a home's risk of subsidence is directly connected to its age. Our understanding of how to build a solid foundation has changed a lot.
This chart really says it all. You can see a very clear, very direct link. The older the house, the shallower the foundation, and you guessed it, the higher the risk. It's that simple. You know, back in the Victorian and Edwardian days, it was kind of the Wild West for foundations. Builders would often dig down just a foot or two and start laying bricks right there on the topsoil. That's the active layer of ground that expands and contracts with the weather. It was, frankly, a recipe for disaster, and it's why these older homes are in that highest risk category. Then came the post-war building boom. We needed new homes, and we needed them fast. And while they started using concrete, which was an improvement, corners were still being cut. Foundations were often way too shallow, and houses were popping up on unstable clay soil without anyone really testing it first. The risk was still pretty significant. But then, in the mid-1970s, everything changed. A revolution in regulations happened that fundamentally made our homes better and safer. 1976. Remember that year? It's the magic number. It is the watershed moment that forever changed how we build houses in Britain. For the first time ever, it became the law. This wasn't a friendly suggestion, it was a legal requirement. Builders were now officially on the hook to build homes that could actually stand up to the forces of nature. And the difference was like night and day. Before 76, shallow, unregulated, hope for the best. After 76, builders had to analyze the soil, and most importantly, they had to install deep foundations. We're talking about massive concrete trenches or even steel piles that punch right through that unstable topsoil and anchor the house to the solid, stable ground deep below. This is the game changer. This is why houses built after 1976 are so much more secure. Okay, so let's bring it all home. What does this history lesson actually mean for you, whether you're a homeowner now or you're looking to buy? First, let's clear something up. It's really important to know the difference between subsidence and settlement. Settlement is normal. It's what happens when a new building's weight causes the ground underneath to compact a little bit. It's harmless. Subsidence, on the other hand, is when the ground itself actually fails. That is a serious structural issue.
So what have we learned today? Well, the age of your house is the #1 indicator of its risk. Victorian and Edwardian homes are the most vulnerable because of those shallow foundations.
The big dividing line is 1976. After that, new laws force builders to dig deeper, making homes dramatically safer. But hey, even modern homes aren't completely bulletproof, which is why a professional survey is always a smart move.
So, every house has a story, and that story begins deep in the ground. The only question is, do you know how to read it?